I was waiting on you. You was waiting on me. What's up with you?
Well, you got to go first. Otherwise, you got to drag me over.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, well. All right. I thought you were just messing with me.
No.
At least you have a legitimate excuse.
Yeah. Every week, I'm like, is he going to click it? Is he going to click it?
Well, hello, everybody. Another episode. This is episode number 152. Is that ain't right, is it? Or is it?
Yeah, sounds right.
I was gonna say, how did it wind up right there? I don't remember putting that in the title, but I guess I did. So 152 consecutive episodes so far, guys. We have came so far. I heard some back and forth in the comment section over there. Some folks getting in here kind of early. Looks like Rick is a early achiever. Him and Jack in the shop got in here kind of early. Tony, yeah, quite a few folks were in here a little early. We were having our Sunday evening discussion prior to getting everything going, making sure all of our stuff works. But yeah, so how are you guys? Steve, I see you have broken out the hoodie up there.
Yeah. You know what? I think we can increase the size of the on-screen chat too now.
Really? Will it let us do it? I saw something that said, oh,
look at that.
Whoa. We're going to need to do some adjustment, though, or you're going to have like comments in your mouth.
That leaves people get it's a little easier to see and read them now.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw they had an update. I didn't know where that was, though. So there you go, guys. The comments down below in the little section there have gotten a little bigger.
A little easier to see, yeah.
Let me see if I can I? Will it let me edit this one? Woo!
Yeah, that's much better. Oh.
See if it'll. I was going to see if it'll let me edit it, but I don't know that it's going to.
It'd be nice if they let you like drag the box around and make it a size. So
yeah, I think you can change the border, change the shape. Give me just a second. Let me look right here. Fit or fill, horizontal, vertical alignment. Yeah, I don't think it's going to let us change the size of it. They need to do a little work on this part of. Yeah, because it won't let me. Like, it won't let me drag it. I was trying to drag it and like get the. Wait a minute, what's this? What does this do? What does that do? Can I get it smaller? Hold on. I might be able to get them off your chin.
Be nice if we could just bump the two of us up a little bit. This is fun. This is exciting. This should bring in lots of views.
Well, again, hey, we got it. We're trying to maximize the user experience.
Yeah. Oh, scrolling through the comments to see. So you say there are a lot of people chatting there early, huh? Is it the time change through
them? Maybe. Let's see. There we go.
That's it. Hey, now we're smaller, but
yeah. Well, I mean, you know. I don't know that they really care if our faces get smaller. I'm trying to play with the setup here just a little. If I can manipulate it just a little more up, a little taller, right there. I think that's as big as we're going to be able to get it. I think that's the best. That's the best I'm going to be able to do with it, guys. Now we just need something in the. Why don't they let us center the comments? I wonder if they will let us center the. Wait a minute. No, that won't. Yeah. So say I wish they would let us center the comments a little better. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah. Make them where it would take up the whole bottom of the screen. So maybe they'll watch this video and be like, yeah, we need to make it to where it fits the whole screen, because that would be better. So you got it on big font size, regular, tall, wide.
Yeah.
They need wider. we need a couple more settings now. All right, well, that's the best we can do with what we got right now. So yeah. I see you broke out the long sleeves. So how's things up your way?
Well, it's early November. It's getting getting cooler. I think our highs are closer to 50s, maybe 60 for another week or so, but there is some threat for some winter weather moving into Minnesota in the next week, I think, but we'll see. We might have a little longer season yet, but it's definitely getting a little chilly out here. So it's 61 in the shop right now, and I've got the little space heater going. But actually, I just noticed this today. This hoodie, this is like off center.
Yeah, I was wondering. I thought it was just you. I thought you were just being crooked today.
Like, what's up with this? So, oh well.
Is that where did you order that from?
Atari.
Oh, I thought maybe you got that off like some bootleg website.
Yeah, maybe it was Atari. Hey.
Atari.
But yeah, no, it's definitely not t-shirt weather up here anymore. Although, funny thing, if it was spring, it would be. It's all relative. But yeah, it was really windy today too. It was blowing the leaves off the trees.
Yeah. Well, I was saying we needed something on the left side. I forgot about comments.
Well, there you go. Look at that.
So we're just gonna have to keep a comment up there. That way it doesn't mess with my OCD-ness.
Yeah.
Brandon's asking, can you use a wireless camera connected to a router with an internet without internet and use SD card for storage? I'm not sure exactly which application you were talking about. As far as like a security camera, they do make IP cameras that can be controlled via a LAN connection. And most of them by way of IP can be also wireless. But I don't know for what application we're discussing here.
Yeah, I mean, there are some out there that can just be LAN only. But most of your popular ones generally like to be attached to the cloud for you to actually remotely access them. But yeah, so technically, yes, there are things out there, but I haven't looked at, like the Wise cameras want to be connected to the cloud, things like that. So
it's typically because of the DNS server issue is assigned to them, and the routing is done through their cloud or whatever. Because if not, like back in the old days, you had to go to like dynamic DNS or whatever and get your own DNS server to use for cameras and stuff. But since most of these companies now have their own cloud service, you can use their DNS to activate them or access them. So it's a little more convenient, because I can remember the first DVR that I put in my house that was remote viewable. I had to create a dynamic DNS account, and I had to, create a domain name basically on the DNS server and all that. And it's a little more irritating. But there are NVRs that you can get to where you could connect a camera to the other end of a network cable, and you can view it and record it to the NVR without internet. So I don't know. Depends on the application. See what we got. Who else we got in here? What other questions we have there?
Broken Spur Creations is asking, does anyone have thoughts on the Ikier lasers?
Well, you've got a couple of those, don't you?
I do. I have the 48/24 watt that I added the enclosure to this summer to kind of test out, and then recently had the big 70K70 Max, which is their 850 by 800, kind of like the Glacier, but with a 70 watt air cooled head on it. And just recently did a couple videos on that one, the review and the project video and such. And I'll say they have improved. The first one I had, the autofocus was really weird. It was tied into the homing as well. And if you didn't have everything just perfect, it liked to error out. But on the latest versions, that seems to be fixed. It's decoupled from the homing app operation. They have just a separate autofocus button on the controller. You can do it anytime. And it doesn't seem to be, I know some people had issues with it being in metric versus imperial before. It worked both ways for me. And I had a lot of issues if the module was too high. Like if I had the honeycomb sitting up above where the feet were, it wasn't getting enough travel and such. Those seem to be fixed. And they're working well. I mean, their frame is nicer than the Atom Stack frame. It's a little beefier. It does a little bit better job of protecting the rails and the belts and such. And it feels very smooth. Now that 70 watt max is a beast and takes up a lot of space. But a friend of mine has been working with it on design that I hope to be able to show in the short future. We're testing something out to see if it can make it a little more reasonable when not in use, but easy to kind of set up and use. So, but yeah, I feel better about them than I did kind of their first revisions that came out. I felt just some of their firmware controls were a little touchy. They needed to be perfect, but now they seem to be working a lot better for me.
Cool. Yeah, I've never had an Ikier machine here, so I can't speak to those. I know they're very similar. A lot of the older ones are very similar to the Atom Stacks, but I've never had one.
Well, when they first came out, they were kind of billed as like the high end Atom Stack line, and I don't know. I mean, they're obviously still connected because you can use Atom Stack Studio and it'll list the Ikier machines as one as you can connect. You can buy Atom Stack machines off of Ikier's website. So I think they're still, second cousins or whatever. But I mean, a lot of things are very similar. They're air pumps. Now the Ikier ones are 12 volt versus 24 volt. And I think they're quieter, but they seem to put out the same amount of air. So I'd have to check to see if the actual wattage is the same between them. It might just be a higher amperage on the 12 volt version, but it doesn't sound like a mistuned Hemi.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of those air assists can be a little loud.
Yeah.
Radu saying that Steve's channel still has weird names. I think that's a YouTube thing, and I don't know why it's affecting some channels and it's not others. But it just what it winds up happening is basically it's using your handle instead of your username as your displayed name, but it still functions.
Yeah, and I don't know why, like you said, I don't know why one or the other, because it's supposed to be a unique handle. So yeah, nothing that I can really do. It's kind of like there's nothing I can do to ensure that notifications go out. It's just a YouTube thing. So
YouTube's just being weird today.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got over here. Diamond State Precision says we like staring at the stuff behind y'all and speculating on what you're doing next. Well, it's been pretty busy. I've got the X-Tool F2 over there I've been playing around with. I've been playing some more with the Atelier, whatever the heck that thing's called. I don't know what is up with these now. When we just make a machine called like Bob's Laser or Don's Laser.
At least that one makes sense in the fact of what its meaning is, right? I at first I was like, what is this weird name? Because we don't use that over here in the US, but apparently in England, France, and others, it's more of a commonplace term, I guess.
Yeah.
And so when I looked it up, and it is basically a workshop or an artisan's shop, thing like that, I was like, okay, this at least makes sense,
Yeah,
as opposed to like
somebody did a little homework on that one.
I don't want to know how they came up with WizMaker.
That was your favorite machine.
I mean, it wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't terrible. I had one, and
apparently they're still around because they put out the same CNC machine as the Atom Stack C4.
Yeah, and they actually used a nicer color than Atom Stack did. So, yeah, I saw that the other day. I've seen a couple of channels reviewing it. I'm like, that's the Atom Stack machine with some orange paint on it.
Yep.
Like instead of the red anodization around the gantry, it's orange and it says a different name on it, but it's the same machine. Like every little bolt, screw, every little feature of it is the same machine. And I'm kind of curious if it has the same problems as well.
I don't know. Curious. But yeah, as far as what's behind me, I mean,
that's the same thing as behind me, basically.
You can kind of tell what's back there. So yeah, X-Tool dropped the F2. They're in pre-sale right now, so I believe the deal is you put $20 down and it gives you their sale price, and it also enters you in the chance to win one. I think, I don't know if you have to fully pay it first, they refund you, or if they're just going to draw, but that's going for another couple days, and I think it officially launches then the 5th.
The 5th, yeah.
Don't know about overall availability, when they'll be shipping them, but that's when they're officially available. And yeah, so they did send a few out when we were lucky enough to get them. And I've been posting a couple of quick test things on it. David did kind of a reaction video if you want to hear his thoughts on it, but yeah, I mean, it's a nice update. I think it definitely, I showed in a couple of my shorts here. Hold on. Glide back and forth here. So on basswood, and forgive the text on this one because I forgot to adjust it on the F2, but here's the difference in cutting power with the blue diode. So this is your F1, and this is 3mm basswood, and this is your F2. So it goes from topping out at 9 millimeters a second and 100% power on the F1 all the way up to 12 on the F2. And then the same thing with acrylic, black acrylic. It's really hard to read the text on there, but on the F2, it's getting through at 4 millimeters a second, whereas at the F1, it was only getting through at 3. So you are seeing about a 25 to 30% increase in speed on some of the common materials. So as far as performance-wise, yes, there's a performance increase. They also added a camera. They added a light. There's also an optional touchscreen. So if you've seen the F1 Ultra or the F2 Ultra, they have that touchscreen for offline control. But it's the exact same form factor. All the plate's the same. So any alignment jigs and such will work. But the camera in there is very accurate.
Yeah, they did a good job with that one.
So it's definitely got some nice upgrades to it. Now the question is, if you already have the F1, do you need to upgrade? I would look at that as, if you're taking these to events and you are really busy, the F2 is going to help speed things up, and possibly you can run them together, or at least if you swap it out, you're going to gain some speed. So if it's really busy and you're getting behind on orders when you're going mobile like that, definitely this will help you out. And if you're that busy, hopefully you're pricing it in the sense that you can add it to your, you can pay that off quickly. It doesn't add any new capabilities per se. I mean, the IR being from a 2 to a 5 definitely is going to increase your speed, but I don't know that's going to give you any extra capabilities. There's a lot of places like start talking about the colorization of stainless steel, and yes, more power makes it easier, and you are over doubling it, but you're also still talking about a 5-watt IR, and we've talked that topic to death about. Yes, it's possible, but getting consistency is very tricky. So it's a very nice laser. The F1 has been my favorite portable laser for a couple of years now. The F2, if you haven't bought one, I would definitely look at that because its capabilities. Do you need to replace your F1 with an F2? I think it really comes down to, do you need more productivity? Do you need that speed? Or do you just want to upgrade? It's definitely a nice. It's one of the lasers from X-Tool I really liked because of its portability to be able to take it on site. And so, yeah, if your F1's getting worn out and you got the money, definitely worth it. But I don't know. What any your thoughts on your week of testing?
I like it. If I were somebody that did craft events, like you said, and I was capable of keeping up with demand, would I run out and replace my F1 with this one? Probably not. If my F1 broke and had to be replaced anyway, or got lost, stolen, whatever, would I upgrade to the F2? Yeah, probably. Because on the road, typically I'm going to be doing things that I'm going to be using jigs for and all that. So the camera is not that big a deal on the road, but like doing one-offs and stuff in the shop, it would be really handy because it is a very accurate camera. I think it's a
50 megapixel.
Yeah, 50 megapixel camera. It's definitely a little more powerful. But yeah, it is if you're looking at getting one and it's in your budget, that's the big kicker. X-Tool likes their stuff. They make good products, but they do like their stuff. And if it's in your budget, then yeah. But you got to make that decision. And me personally, I like it. And I seen JR was asking the difference between the P2 and the F1 and the F2 as far as jigs. That is my F1 on the left, of course, and then the F2 on the right. The metal part, the chassis of the machine is identical as far as I can tell. There's very few. There's some badging that's a little different, and I think the fan assembly on the back side of the machine may be a bit different. I think the F1 fan come out, screw out on the original F1.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it did or not. But, I mean, they look a lot alike. The chassis are almost identical. The biggest difference is going to be the power, the camera, the light, that kind of thing. But that's the same jig kit right there. Fits both machines, so I didn't have to recut or redesign or anything. So
yeah, and this is one of Sam's. It's his business card jig that he 3D prints for the F1, and it drops right in place. So yes, you can use all of the same jigs and the templates, and you just got to recalibrate it to the new machine.
As far as I know, the peripherals work too, like the pedal and the button and everything. I haven't tried it yet. That's still on my list of things to do.
Yeah. So I did ask about the touchscreen if the one from the F2 works with this, but they said no, that is machine specific. But you're right. As far as I understand, the RA2 rotary still works with it. The air purifier works between the two. I've got the old. It's the same one. I don't think they've updated that. And then. Someone else asked, can you run them both at XCS? Yes, you can open up an additional tab within XCS, and you can then connect to another machine. When you start the job and it's in kind of its preview or its status window, you get an option to minimize it, and then you can jump over to a new tab and then connect to a new machine. So when I've been running some of these tests, I actually have them running both at the same time off of one laptop. So if you have an old one, if you've invested in a lot of stuff and you want to add this to it, all that stuff should work with it. So,
yeah. Tim Arthur's saying, I saw your video that you wasn't able to disable the air assist on the Polar Plus. It's like that on the Thunder. I ended up pulling the hose off from the head. Wish there was a different option. Yeah, that's what I ended up doing, because the hose that they used on the Polar, it was kind of big. And one, I got to noticing that big stiff hose was also affecting the way that the focus is done by the nozzle touching the material and moving. I also got to noticing that hose was kind of thick and was actually acting like a shock absorber. And so it was kind of inhibiting the probe a little bit. And so I went in, changed that hose out with a little bit, more malleable piece of hose. And then I went and put a small, like an 1/8 of an inch hose in there and made like a working loop going into the module. And I put a little quick disconnect right there, just one of the little pull and unlock connections. And so when I don't want to run air assist, I just reach up there and unplug it from the nozzle. There are probably other ways I could have done it, but to me, no more times than I'm gonna want to disable my air assist, because the other day with those pins, when they were rocking a little bit, that's the only time I've ever really wanted to disable it. So it's not something I'm gonna be doing a lot of. Like if I do tumblers, I run air assist. If I do any kind of engraving, I run air assist. It was only because those pins were sitting there rocking a little bit because of that little bit of air is the reason I wanted to unplug it. So being that I won't be doing that often, I feel like, the unplugging it works fine for my application. So
cool. Jumping back to that question, the first question we took, Ryan says he has Blink cameras and they don't need cloud. Good to know. I've actually been looking at replacing some. I want to add a spotlight camera, the floodlight motion detection with the camera on the parking side of my shop. So I've been looking at those. I'll have to look a little bit deeper into them.
I have Oreo links. They use a web portal, but you don't have to pay for like.
That's what Jack's got as well.
You don't have to pay for them to store your data, because you can put SD cards in them and do it that way. I think they have they'll upsell you some added features if you want and charge you a little bit every month, but you don't have to have it.
Yep.
What else you got going on? I saw somebody was hollering at Cody a minute ago. I don't know if Cody's in here. I see our Ballard Designs is in the house. Hello, Ryan. How are you tonight, sir?
Yep, Cody's there. It's evening, y'all.
I thought I saw him a while ago. Mr. Jenny Bits himself. And I know that's been a topic lately. Man, everybody's been on bits and on the quality and the design and all this and all that. But by George, I just want to add that Cody is just a swell guy. And if you're going to give your money to somebody, give your money to a swell guy, regardless of what anybody else says.
Yeah, and I used his.
They're good bits. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're better than anybody else's, but Cody's a good dude.
So I did.
What you got on that one? You got a bug on that?
Well, so this one, these were all done with Cody's bits, so the 1/8" downtown Jenny. This is poplar wood, and this was done with that Adam Stack C4 CNC machine. So this was just kind of routing out a relief and then painting and sanding and finishing it. But this one is a similar part of that wood. This is actually a knot.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a bug on it.
Yeah, no, it's a knot that,
we'll just call it a bruise on the pumpkin. How about that?
Yeah. So this was epoxy filled. You kind of see there. I need to finish kind of polishing it up a bit, but it did that one again with that, and then did the roughing on this one with the downtown Jenny, but then had to finish it with a 1/8" tapered ball nose, because this spindle only does 1/8" bits, and Cody doesn't have a tapered ball nose that small of a.
I know we've had that discussion. I think it has something to do with his cutting wheel.
Yeah, he doesn't quite have the geometry for it with that, but I mean, the machine did a pretty good job on these carves. Definitely slow. Not the bit's fault, but just the machine. It's a 200-watt spindle, and I was getting some chatter. I need anything higher. So yeah.
Hang on.
So yeah, it's always good for his bits to make clean work out of that, because I didn't have a whole lot of sanding on that once I got the speed right to eliminate the other stuff.
This was going to be my other project with my Adam Stack C4, but I had something went horribly wrong right in here. I don't know what started happening, but it was like my Z depth started going down slowly on its own, and to the point to where my polishing pass, because this was kind of like this first pass was just, kind of a not a real tight step over pass. But then I came back and I was like, I'm going to do, across the grain and just do a lot faster speeds or whatever. And I don't know what happened. Right in here, it just started diving and it dove down, and I finally got mad and stopped it. So I don't know. I ran it off the offline controller instead of using G-Sender. I'm starting to wonder if maybe this 3D file, maybe the the offline controller just could not handle that many nodes. Maybe I don't know, because it kept throwing codes. So I'm going to try this again, but I'm going to move it over here or over there, and I'm going to hook it to my computer and use G-Sender to control it instead of the offline controller, because I'm thinking that maybe that offline controller is just not robust enough to handle that much information. I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing, but that's the only thing that makes sense, because it did so good right through here. I mean, it done a really good job, and then all of a sudden, it just started stepping down.
This was just on the finishing pass?
Yes, as far as I could tell. I didn't see anything on the rough and pass. So
I mean, the only other thing I've noticed on some machines, I think I mentioned this to you before, is that static buildup in the dust system. Yeah. If the controller isn't grounded properly, I've seen it where it hiccups and then it loses its steps. So
yeah, well, these right here are these are exits from where it was engraved, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, it decided to go to 0, 0, but it didn't raise the Z. It just literally went to 0, 0.
Yeah,
and so that's why you see these lines gouged into it, which luckily it didn't break the bit or anything. But yeah, so I'm still having some issues with that machine. I've got to get that panned out. But yeah, it was doing it done a really good job on the stars, because those are usually, if it's missing steps or sliding or anything, you're going to see it in those stars because it'll cut the corners off of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I want to work on that this week, I guess. I'm going to try one more time. If I don't get it to work just one more time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my speeds and feeds, because I think I've gotten so used to some of these sturdier machines. I think part of the problem may be me. I hate to admit it.
Yeah, you may be a little aggressive.
I think I may be being a little aggressive for this little machine, and I may my expectations. I may need to tamp my expectations just a little bit and take my depth of cut down to about 50% of what I've been running. Keep my speed the same, but take my depth of cut down. I think that's gonna help me, because I was doing like a 2 millimeter depth of cut with an 1/8 inch upcut bit. And I'm not running the spindle that you are. I'm running the upgraded one, which is 500 watts, I think.
I don't know that that's much of a upgrade, honestly, myself.
So, yeah. So it sounded like it was doing a good job, but I think it's putting too much pressure on the steppers. So, but I still ain't figured out why it's doing the random movements like that. That's just odd.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Well, anyway.
Try to scroll through here and see what everybody's talking about. Oh, there we go. ETLC is asking, how do you keep the black charring to a minimum when cutting? I use 20 watt and 40 watt lasers, but I try cutting fast speed, one pass at 100% power. I mean, cutting as fast as you can with as much air as you can is the best approach, but sometimes fast is a relative term. So,
yeah, I mean, it depends on the material. If you can't, it's always best if you can cut it in one pass. That's going to move. You're going to have less staining from the vapors. You're going to have less soot getting trapped in that groove. But if you can't get through in one pass, more passes. You don't want to linger. You want to keep that thing moving. And so I usually will go from one pass, jump it up to a much higher speed and do like 3 or 4, just to keep that moving, because it leaves less lingering for the laser to char and less vaporization in one spot. So try jumping up your passes. Don't just double it, maybe like 3 or 4 times it and up your speed, maybe like a 2/3 of that, and try there, because speed's going to be your friend to minimize charring at that point. So, but yeah, if you can get that air assist going, get the focus just right, and also make sure you're dropping your focus, if you can, about halfway through your material. Most lasers are set up the way where their focus point is on top of the material. You got to remember it's a kind of an hourglass thing. So as it goes deeper, your beam is going out of focus. You want that hourglass to hit right in the middle of your material. So you're getting the most effective cut.
And it also keeps your kerf as flat as it's going to get.
Yeah, it'll be least variation in your kerf there too.
Yeah, it's never going to be completely flat because of the shape of the beam, but doing it, where your focal point is in the middle of your material gives you even top and bottom. So it's more flat.
Yeah.
Dean is saying, got a slight issue with my Rolly 20 watt. I think the module seems to get pretty hot after running a 5-10 minute job. I can't hold the module. Is that normal? I would say no. That should not be getting that hot. No. If it's getting that hot, you've got a problem. You've got airflow issues somewhere. You need to take that apart and clean out the heat sink around the module more than likely. I love Rolly. I love the machines. They did a really good job. One of the few things that I will say about those machines is the fact that the exhaust was in the back of the machine, right about the same level as the module, caused a lot of that stuff to get pulled because the honeycomb design was great. But what wound up happening is the smoke would go down in the honeycomb and then get pulled back up through the honeycomb, through the module, and then out the back. Hindsight, if they'd have put a false bottom in it, kind of like you do with smokers and grills and stuff like that, so that the smoke was pulled towards the front of the machine, away from the module, and then out the back, it would have kept the modules a lot cleaner. But if you're not cleaning that module periodically, or if you haven't done something to address the airflow issue inside your machine, such as a bigger fan or auxiliary fan to help it or whatever, that module sitting there breathing all that smoke is not good for it. It's going to eventually stop it up if you're not careful. And I know there's people out there that put filters on them and all that. Me personally, I wouldn't do that. I would work on fixing the cause of the issue rather than treating the symptom. I would get that smoke out of that enclosure as fast as possible. So what say you there, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, about the only other thing, I mean, everything you said was spot on. If there's any way to check that the fan is spinning, the fan on the top of the module, make sure that is spinning freely, and it has that it's not gunked up. Because if that is running slow or not at all, it's definitely going to heat up pretty fast. You definitely shouldn't get it so hot that you can't hold it. So clean out the fan and clean out the module. Hopefully that takes care of it.
Yeah, and make sure the fan is working. Like Steve said, make sure it's working. Because if you don't have a fan on at all, that would explain why it's getting so hot. And those little fans can go bad. And also, if they get too gummed up, the gum alone can stall them out to where they're not spinning.
Yep.
Layer by Layer is saying, good evening, about the X-Tool F2. Is the bed exactly the same as the F1? And so you can use the same jigs and screw holes. Yes. We talked about that earlier, but yeah, the machine, the chassis of the machine is pretty much identical. There's some cosmetic things on the body that's different. And then of course, some technology has been upgraded. They've added lights and a camera, but other than that, if you painted them both gray and set them side by side, you couldn't tell them apart.
Yeah. I wasn't sure on the color. Not my favorite choice, but I will say, and I don't know if it could also be the light that they added inside there. Yeah, it is a lot easier to see what's going on in the F2 than the F1. So
yeah, the light does help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It just eliminates everything better. So there they are, side by side. Like I said, if you painted both of them gray, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart with them turned off. Now, when you turn them on, you can, because the F2 has the light, and so it looks a lot different when it's powered up and the door's shut. But yeah, definitely did a pretty good job with it. There is this slight, and I don't know if you can see it, slight difference, I think, right here in this mechanism.
You might just have yours lower. The F2 might be focused
Okay,
lower.
yeah, that's it. Never mind.
I think the only difference really is that you can see from the outside is that port on the back for the touchscreen.
Yeah, I don't know if I've got a photo that shows.
So it's
that.
This is extra. This one over on this side, and that's where you can plug in the touchscreen. And then this has this little kind of placard on it, whereas the F1 just had the 2 ports. So,
yeah. Woo! Look out! Look out! Yeah,
I do also feel like, and maybe it's just because I've used the F1 for 2 years, the focus, the motor, and the movement seems just a little smoother on the F2. But that just could be I
was going to say that could be just.
I really used a lot of manipulation with the F1 over a couple of years. So.
Yeah, that could just be some wear. Now, did the F1, did it even have autofocus?
I think you could set it to.
I don't remember if
I never used it. But I think it had a thing where you could home it and then you could set the material thickness and it would try to automatically adjust.
Yeah, but I don't remember if it had like the legit like push the button and it measures it and goes up and down auto assist.
I don't know.
I got to do some more play and some more comparative stuff because I doing the stuff that I used to do at the events. I've always just manually set the focus. Because if I was putting my blank in there, I would just dial it up and down and lock everything. So I never really used autofocus on the F1 if it had it, but I don't know if that's because it didn't have it or just I didn't use it. I don't know. I'm going to go back and look. Jeffrey saying it has autofocus, but what you said. So it's doing it based on the thickness. You have to put the thickness of the material in there then.
Yeah, I think it knows its height from the bed, and then it just you say the material's 3 millimeter, and it goes okay. So yeah. I've just always done I'm never doing anything that crazy with it. So it's usually just like a quick, quick twist. The red and the blue dot come together and just move on. So
Digi's asking, do they have a payment plan? They actually do, but I don't recommend financing lasers. I'm just be honest with you, unless you just ain't got nothing else to spend your money on. That's what you want to do. I mean, unless you have a rock solid plan of how that thing's going to pay itself off quickly. Yeah, I try not to. Jared's asking, Clack going to get that longer UV printer they're talking about on Kickstarter? I don't know about that. I don't jump up and down or try to get UV printers and such as that because that's not something I do a lot of, and I really don't have anywhere to put them because it's dusty in here, and I don't use those things a lot. If I had a different space that I could put them, maybe. Longer has been reaching out to me. They're wanting to do something. They're wanting to cooperate on some stuff. I don't really want to get into all the nuts and bolts of it right now, but they have asked me to do some stuff with that. But so far, I'm kind of not doing that. And just like, what was the other company, X Laser Lab or whatever? Yeah, they had actually asked me to come to China next week or next month, but I don't think I'm going to be doing that either. It's a bad month to be trying to travel. So yeah, there's been a lot of stuff that I've turned down lately. So I'm trying to get everything done here, getting ready for Christmas. It's just kind of a bad time for me to be trying to travel like that. Because when they mentioned it, I'm like, I wouldn't mind going. And when you want to do it, and they're like next month, and I'm like, whoa, no, too quick, too quick.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the longer UV printer comes out. They have dual print heads, which is great, but they're also they are an item that goes. It's a wearable item. So now you've got. Not that you're going to wear it. They do wear out. And so you do have to replace those eventually, but that does give you some flexibility in the fact that you can load flexible inks versus durable hard inks without having to flush them and swap them. So there might be some advantages there. But it's definitely going to, the maintenance is something to definitely look at on any of those. Unless you're using them daily, that could become a big issue for you. I mean, they're very cool to have, but if you don't have consistent work for them, you're going to find that it's very expensive to maintain.
Yeah. ETLC is saying, I have a WeCreate Lumos. Should I buy the X2 F2 or just keep using my WeCreate? I have been satisfied so far with the WeCreate. The Lumos wasn't that's not a bad machine. And if you're happy with the results you're getting from it, I mean, stick with it. You know what I mean? The F2 does have some cool features. It's a little smaller, like form factor, than the Lumos is. It does have bidirectional engraving.
Well, I believe they finally fixed that on the Lumos in their software. But
for the most part, like I said, it'll do the same stuff. It's just
I like the form factor of the F1 and the F2 better. But I mean, if you've got the Lumos and it's working for you, stick with it until it's not doing enough for you.
Yeah.
You know, then look at it. Or if you just have money burning a hole in your wallet and really want another one, you know, go for it. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, but I don't feel you have to replace the Lumos with the F2 unless, like I mentioned earlier, you need to up your productivity and need to add another laser. Then I would say maybe take a look at this other one. But
Blue Snowmanic saying no bidirectional on Lumos on the rotary yet. Yeah, I remember somebody saying that it works in flat mode but not in rotary or anything yet.
It seems so odd.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Especially in a Galvo.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's just not trusting your equipment to do the job right.
Yeah. Blue Snowmanic says opinion on the one laser XRF and WeCreate Lumos versus the F2. Well, you pretty much just heard that as far as the WeCreate versus the F2. If I had to choose between the two, I like XCS better than I do WeCreate software, and I also like the fact that the new F2 will work with LightBurn. So, I'm assuming.
Have you tried the F2 with LightBurn yet?
I haven't tried it yet. I just thought about that. What was that? No, that was the Atelier I was using with LightBurn this week.
Yeah.
I haven't tried now that I think about it, because I know the F1 did, but I haven't tried the F2. So never mind on that. Retract that. Because I got thinking, I'm like, wait a minute, that wasn't because I remember running it. I'm like, that wasn't the F2. That was the other little small machine with the orange cover that I have.
So that is something with newer X Tool machines moving forward. They will only work in X Tool Studio, and I think their LightBurn compatibility is going to be iffy as they add a lot of these.
Definitely not going to work as well.
Smart, tools to them, and that's going to be true with a lot of these lasers that are coming out with more smart automation tools. They're having to build the software around those, and so it's going to be tough to have LightBurn be compatible with them all. But yeah, just know that with X Tool machines, any new machines coming out from this point forward, like the P3, I'm not sure about the F2, but they're going to require you to use their new X Tool Studio, and I wouldn't count on LightBurn being compatible with them fully. So we'll see.
Mark bends at the bit dove in increments like it did. Yeah, it wasn't a Z, and it had been engraving for like 8 hours before it did that. It wasn't a Z-axis issue. It was either getting some bad inputs or some bad G code, or the controller was just puking on itself or something, because it was way too severe. It was not like tiny little steps. I'm gonna take it apart and put a ground wire on it and check this and get my voltmeter and check the grounding, and I'm gonna do all kinds of stuff with it to see. And I may even run it without any dang dust collection just to see if that's what's causing it.
But kind of eliminate as many things. Yeah, it's frustrating to have those things and try to chase them down.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Mike Thompson says, thanks, Steve, for the prophecy on the Bamboo Lab. Got the P1 combo. Yeah, they launched their Black Friday sales. Was it Tuesday? And they've got some really good pricing on like the A1 combo or the P1S combo. Of course, they do have their P2S coming out, which is has some nice features over the P1S. But if you've been looking at 3D printers and kind of sitting on the fence or waiting for a good deal, this was about the time when last year they had the kind of their best deals on printers. And the A1 combo, what is it, like 400-ish? Something, but the P1S I think it's under 600 with the AMS combo on it, and I paid just this summer I paid I think 700.
Yeah, I was eyeballing the P1S earlier. I was like, I done put it in my cart and took it out. Put it in my cart and took it out.
What?
Like,
I've got an affiliate link you can use.
Yeah, it's $3.99 right now for the straight up just the machine.
Yeah,
but if you get the P1S combo, they've got it for $549.
Yeah, that's a smoking deal. On a really nice printer. I've been happy with mine. I haven't really done too many upgrades to it yet. I did a video this week just kind of talking about the state of my 3D printers and some of the things I've done with them, and the some filament drying options. I did add that Sunlu heater box onto my AMS. So if you're curious about that stuff, curious about the printers I've been using, my thoughts on especially the A1s after about a year of use, you can check that out as well. But yeah, now is a really good time to grab one, and they are very useful and they're also fun. I've been printing out more of those chunkable things. I did one of the Ninja Turtles today. I've got some friends and family that want them, so. But definitely on the accessories, Clack's got the lens cap, and he's got a whole F1, F2 kit out now on his Etsy shop of 3D printed options for those. So,
yeah, and I had to, because apparently the 10-watt Omni has a different lens now.
Yeah.
So after a few trial and errors today, I managed to perfect the lens cover for it, because the lens was a little weird shaped. So I had to create a 3D file with the little lip right here at the top to kind of grab.
Sure.
And so, because I made it to where it was just straight sided at first and it was wanting to fall off. But then I added just a little ridge on the inside right there. And it's working great. But yeah, I did create a couple of files today for the F1 and the F2. Somebody had reached out to me and was asking about a 4-inch adapter for the F1 or F2. And so I made this little guy here, created this. And so I put it with the lens cover for the F1/F2. I put both of them in my Etsy shop today. And the way this works is instead of trying to stick a 4-inch hose to the back of your little tiny laser, you use the hose that it comes with. Like this is the one that the F1 or the whatever came with. And you can just take and slide this in here. And now you can connect your 4-inch hose out here and still use this small flex form hose to connect to the machine. So yeah, been playing around, getting it ready, because I didn't want to use my filter box up in here doing testing. So I'm like, you know what? I need to vent this thing. So that's when I created this little
guy. Tim, I'm going to put a link in chat for the Chunkables, and you can find the Ninja Turtles and a bunch of others there. Some of them are free, but then they also have you can become a member and get so many downloads a month from that guy. And he seems to come out with like a new one every week or so, it seems like. So some fun stuff in there to check out. As far as there was another question about, will Bamboo have a better deal? This is their Black Friday sale. They're starting it basically for the whole month of November. So I don't think you're going to, could be wrong, but
this is probably as good as it's going to get.
This is probably as good as it's going to get, because they have it running now through, I think, like into Cyber Monday or whatnot. So it's the best prices we've seen on their stuff for a while.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, this P1S is really calling my name.
I'm liking mine, but I had I had the P1S, I had the A1 Mini and the A1 running. I probably would have had the Flash Forge running, except for I've been trying to move things around to get it in with the other printers right now, so it wasn't set up and ready to go. But
So
yeah,
for my own information, because I don't have one, nor have I had one. Comparing the A1 to the P1S, is there a major increase in productivity as far as speed and like consistency with it that you've noticed?
no, it opens up some more capabilities as far as the filaments you can use because it is enclosed. Oddly enough, with printing PLA, they tell you either take the top glass off or open the door. That's why I printed out a riser that will hold the glass above there, so I don't have to have the door open. It is a little bit louder due to the fans. One of the stupid little creature comforts that I like, and I know there are some 3D mods that I could print for this, but they have little side guides on the back when you slide the build plate back in that just make it pretty much snap in place. The A1 has that little tab in the back by default, and I'm always getting it slightly off. So that's a little bit of an annoyance. But the other thing being is that if you get the AMS with that unit, it's more enclosed. And so it's not as open as the AMS Lite, which now they have firmware updates. You can use the AMS and the AMS2 with the A1. So you wouldn't have to get the P1S for this. But that AMS unit is going to be better at protecting the filament you have loaded in there from humidity.
So I couldn't use the AMS I've got now. If I just didn't care about the climate controlled AMS, you can't use it with it.
It's a good question. You might be able to. I don't know on their firmware. I haven't looked into it. Honestly, I really like the.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool, but I'm just saying as far as like, because I think it looks better than the other one.
It's easier to load and unload.
For the price, I don't know that it would be worth, trying.
I mean, it's like 150-ish add-on, I think. Yeah. I think it's worth it. I mean, even if nothing else, for when you're running out one spool, you can load up another color and another one, and it automatically does the change.
Oh yeah, that's what I use mine for a lot. Yeah. I very rarely, I mean, with my name tags or my little lanyards for my lens covers, I do a black and orange, like overlay, and that's pretty handy. But yeah, I'll probably end up pulling the trigger on one, but it's hard for me to do when the one I've got's working so good. It just works so great.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're doing like complex, like I've done a lot of complex models that have multiple build plates.
Wow, thank you.
That's where having any additional, like you could get two A1s and have the same productivity, but if you want to start getting into other filaments, having that enclosed machine is going to be really nice. So
yeah, well, thank you there, Melissa.
Yes, thanks for the support, Melissa. We really appreciate it.
That's really, really generous. We appreciate it. Let's see what else we got. But yeah, I tell you, I like that price. I like the machine. I like the look of that one. I think it would look better in my living room where my other one's sitting. But I also, like I said, I'm having such good luck with the one that I've got. I don't really know. I don't need two of them. You know what I mean? So.
Well,
yeah, Robert, that's something that we don't know. We're going to have to play with that. I don't know that the F2 is going to work with LightBurn. I wouldn't count on it. I'll put it to you that way. I've always said since, the S1? Since the S1 came out, if you want to use and you're just, I'm not going to use XCS, don't get an X tool because they're leaning further and further that way. XCS has came a long way. I don't mind it. It used to bug me back in the early days, but it's came a long way, and I really do like their software for their machines, even though I don't always design in XCS.
Yeah. Did we? No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, JR said he's got the P1S and an A1. He said he thinks the P1S is a fantastic machine. Yeah, I think it is too. I'm just trying to talk myself out of buying it because I don't want to waste my money on something that I've already got something. It's like when you've got you've got an F-150, but you're like, I could get the F-250, but you really don't need it. It's just one of those things that you want. Because that's where I'm at. Because for what I use my machine for, I'm not running a print farm. I'm not printing anything that requires it to be closed up. PETG's kind of become my new thing. PLA for the orange stuff because I bought a bunch of orange PLA. So I'm not really trying to print ABS or anything. But it's just hard for me to spend that money when what I've got is working.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything else. Once you hit that point where you're being held up by your printer, that's when you look at either upgrading or adding to it, I think. But
yeah,
you're going to find out in like 3 or 4 months you really wish you had one, and the prices are going to be higher.
Well, and that's what I've thought about. I've thought about, you know what, I could just go ahead and buy one, and then just I'd have it. But
yeah, I don't know. We had that up there. I don't think we answered or gave Kevin any direction here. He says he's got a replacement Reno 65 coming here. Thanks, FedEx. I understand each machine is different, but when doing cuts, say 1/8 basswood, what power and speed coming from an F1 Ultra and a D1?
You're going to want to do some testing.
Yeah, you're going to need to do some testing on that one. And my Reno setup is down. I've got the 45, and my Reno setup is down in my basement shop, so I can't necessarily look it up right now. But within LightBurn, use their material test tool, and with a 65 watt. Now I don't know if you're talking about solid basswood or plywood, but I would probably run. I would start your test somewhere around 15 to 25. You're probably gonna not get up to. You may or may not get up to 25. I don't know. A 60 watt CO2 on 1/8 inch plywood, depending on whether it's Baltic birch to basswood, I've found I end up somewhere between those two ranges. So that would be kind of where to start. The caveat to that is I don't remember if they've got that one tuned. I think my Reno 45, I only run up to about 65% power to try to keep the milliamp rating in check. So maybe not go at 100% power for your test, but maybe go from like 50 to 80 and see.
Yeah, I don't have any of the Reno machines, but I do have a nice chiller sitting over there that's supposed to be going with a Reno 45 Vision. Is that right?
Yeah.
45. Is it a Pro Vision or just a?
Well, I think it's the Vision, which is the Pro with the camera and a couple other things. So, but yeah, I was actually doing some testing with mine. Someone had asked recently about acrylic cutting with the 45 as far as 1/8 and 1/4 inch. And you can cut both. I think the 1/4 inch, I was having to slow it down to somewhere around 4 to 5 millimeters a second to get through, but it was doing it.
C5200.
It's the nicer one.
Yeah. When they said they wanted to send me a machine, I was like, "You're gonna have to send me a good chiller because I don't have one, and I can't use a 5-gallon bucket in here." So, yeah, that's the chiller. Where the rest of it is, I don't know. But they are supposed to be sending it out. We'll see. But yeah, I have a chiller. So if nothing else, we can chill.
Feel like I got a little behind in comments here. So if we've missed yours, we may scroll past it, but don't be worried about dropping it in again. Just give us a little chance to get caught up on some of them, but I'm going to try to scroll forward a little bit closer to the live time.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark said, worst come to worst, you can review the chiller. I can just be like, it chills water. Because I don't have a machine that requires a chiller right now. But
Melissa's commenting, after 1 year of having a LightBurn license, I still cannot get LightBurn to connect to my S1 correctly with the correct dimensions.
Yeah, it did that triangle thing, remember?
You mean where it was cutting squares as triangles?
Yes. And like I was on the beta with LightBurn trying to work that out, and it drove me nuts. And I just couldn't spend the time testing everything.
Yeah, I'll be honest, with my S1, I'll design in other applications, sometimes LightBurn, sometimes SketchUp, sometimes others. And then I just import it into XCS or Xtool Studio and run the file from there. It just works easier with their laser. And I love their pinpoint, their crosshair alignment, positioning that actually works really well. So I did get mine set up and I got the offset working in LightBurn, but honestly, after that, playing around with it, I'm like, you know what? It just works better in their software. So I kind of just gave in and used theirs for machine control at that point. So I haven't tried, but I mean, one thing you might want to try if you haven't connected to Xtool software is try connecting to it and seeing if there's like a firmware update. And then they may, I don't remember, they used to post their LightBurn profiles in their support section for the machines. There might be a new one out there to check on. I haven't looked at that in a while, but
yeah, I gave up on trying to use LightBurn with it. Once I got the hang of that little crosshair and the way that you do the frame with like you mark out your material. Once I got the hang of that, like I didn't want to run it in LightBurn anymore. Like you said, I would design in LightBurn and then I would send it over either by SVG, or if it was a complex shape with multiple layers, I would do was it a DXF? I think it was that I got it got to where I was getting pretty good at bringing them in as a DXF and then just assigning the layers to different settings or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, typically I just throw them as a SVG and go with it.
I just wish that when they'd update there's, every time they update versions with XCS, they move some key things around. Like you'd expect things to stay in an edit menu or a device menu or whatnot, and they hide some things, they move some things around. I'm like, can we not change the UI unless there's a very good reason to change it? So.
Yeah, because once you get familiar with the layout and the lay of the land, it's kind of frustrating when they change where a button sits.
Yeah. There was I saw it earlier. I think JR was asking, when do I expect to have an impressions or review video on the Xtool P3? I'm hoping soon. Them sending the F2 out with their launch next week. I've been trying to bounce between the two, getting used to each one, creating some content. The P3 has a lot of automation to it, which is cool. But when you're not, I'm used to doing a lot of things manually, and sometimes that trips me up where it's trying to be smart about things and I'm trying to outthink the laser. So I'm just trying to get used to its workflow. And then, I'll be doing more testing with that. I hope to have something out on that within the next week. And the F2 as well, just to kind of get the initial stuff out. So then I can start really playing more with each of them. So hopefully soon.
Yeah. Jerry was asking about Galvo machines. Do you use an open-ended hose or 3D print a nozzle of some kind for the hose? And the question, the answer for me is I designed this little fitting here. And then I have these that, like this one, you can take, if you're doing something really thin, you can put it on like that. And basically the bottom of this is even with the bottom, like the bed. But if if you're doing something that's a little taller, all you got to do is take that out and put it in like that. And now you've got your air being pulled in a little higher. You can even like I don't know why you'd want to, but you know, you can rotate it.
Well, that would fit on the table then.
Yeah, it wouldn't connect to the table. I have another one. This was an experimental one that it works like when you're doing coins or whatever, because it really like bottlenecks the air and creates like a freaking cyclone. Like, but if you're doing like a coin or something, and that's why you can look at this one and see it's got like, I don't know if you can see it. Hang on, let me pop it loose from there. I was doing a coin the other day, and it's got like stainless steel and stuff just stuck to it everywhere. But this one you can get the hose like right up next to it, and you use screws to hold it still, and you can literally put the coin like right here, and there's like a blade of air coming across it, and it does a really good job at keeping that metal from getting into the air, because that's one of the things I'm paranoid about when I'm doing metal is breathing that really, really fine, like just, you know, micron level pieces of metal into my body. It's not something I want to do. And so with this, it just like creates like a really thin line of air that's just being sucked through right there. And it seems to do a pretty good job. It's probably not the best for my fan because it does restrict the airflow a little bit. But if I can get you a little more of the particulate and wear my fan out just a little faster, I'm okay with that. So, but yeah. But I have these, and then like with this machine here, this one, when they made this machine, they didn't do a really good job at the exhaust because it just had a fan in the back. Well, I created myself an adapter that bolts into where the fan is in the back, and then I have this tube that slides over that adapter in the back, and this tube comes all the way out to the front to the work area to pull fumes and stuff in. So when I'm doing, I don't do a lot of like woods and plastics in there, but when I do, it's good to have this guy. So it just basically, I can take it out if I want to, or I can put it in there, and you can actually leave it out here, or you can just push it all the way against the back like that. So 3D printed options around here. That is why I like my Bamboo Labs.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been able to make adapters and whatnot for the lasers has been one of its primary uses, other than all the fun stuff that family and friends ask for. Craig's asking, anyone on here still using a Tezer, however we ever said that name, laser?
Klein's using my V36. He said he did 2 jobs with it today. Is what he was telling me earlier when he was over here terrorizing my cats.
I think I still have one. Let me see.
But he's still using my V35. My P20, my nephew has it. He's still running it, but it's not like an everyday machine for him. Oh, somebody's asking about my Galvo stuff. Let me see here. I don't remember exactly what all, because I got behind on Etsy, guys. Like there was some stuff that I got behind on. Let's see here. I do have lots of stuff in my Etsy section. 3D print files. So I do have like, let's see what I got up here. That boot adapter, comm marker. Here's my comm marker accessories. Oh, I'm in the wrong mode. I've got the comm marker stuff over here for the comm marker Omni 1. That's the lens cover and stuff. That's the one I just uploaded today. That's the X-Tool F2 F1. Apparently I have not put my Galvo air kit on here. I might need to do that. That might actually be a good one to have. I can't believe it's not on here.
Here's my remaining Aether laser.
The Frankenstein.
Rarely used anymore. But,
have you done the video on that yet?
No. It it's a rotary adapter, so it takes just the the gantry off the frame, and these allow you to kind of angle it up in height and move it forward and back from those kind of adjustments, and allows you to kind of have a standalone rotary jig for laser. And it works okay, but if you're doing that many tumblers, there's probably better lasers for it. This was kind of a fun project. A friend and I worked on it for a bit.
Yeah,
that's the P20, I think.
Yeah, it looks like P20 frame.
Yeah,
and module. Yeah, apparently I never put my fiber laser exhaust tubes and stuff on there. I got to get caught up on that. I'll look at trying to get those put out there. What I need to do is just put the two different cones that I have as well as the base, because the base will work with a lot of different bolt patterns. When I first built it, I made it to where it was exactly, 25? I think it is 25 millimeters. So it's like 25 and 25. But then I realized if you wanted to angle it, like for some kind of weird job you were doing, you couldn't angle it. So now I have slotted holes in it so that you can turn it and angle it as long as you can get 2 screws to it. One, if you're really in a pinch, but as long as you can get 2 screws to it, you're good. And typically any angle you set it at, you can get, a couple of screws in there.
Cool. Gray Vikings asking, when cutting out multi-layer laser items, what glue is everyone using that has a good open time?
I'm going to let Steve take that glue question. Y'all know
line the borders. Think Christmas ornaments that have depth. I mean, it's going to depend on what material. But if you're using your typical like woods that most people use, you can use thicker CA glues and they won't bond as quickly. But anytime you use a CA glue, it actually goes through a polymerization process, and through that, it actually off-gasses some fumes. And so you have to be very careful on the material if it's finished or whatnot, that those fumes can have a tendency to have, you see it a lot in acrylics or darker things. It'll leave a little bit of a frosted look. So CA glues are good for when you got to have something done quickly, or you can kind of hide that. For things like this, I will go for probably a faster setting wood glue, especially like the white variations that are going to clear dry. You just got to set things up to where maybe you can put them in place, let them set for about 10 minutes, let that glue start to cure. And then you're usually pretty good, but you do sacrifice a little speed, but it's an easier cleanup time or easier cleanup process in exchange for that time. If you're really, really good about your alignment, you can do the double-sided tape but the problem is, and you put that on that 3M tape, you put that on, you laser cut right through it. It's a really nice bond. There's no squeeze out, but you got to be pretty much spot on when you put that down. Another thing to try would be some of like the kind of the rubber or the contact cement, not rubber cement, but contact cement. You can do a thin layer there and you'll usually get just a little bit of wiggle time and then it grabs. But yeah, for a lot of things that are wood related, if I'm not in a hurry, a clear drying wood glue is what I go for.
Yeah, I tend to do the same. If I'm going to use CA glue on wood stuff, I try to use the medium. You don't want to use the thin, of course, because it just like sucks into the wood like water. You don't want to use the thick because might as well use wood glue because it takes so long to dry. But the medium, in my opinion, if you're not using activator, the medium gives you just enough time with wood that you can get it where you want it, squeeze it real tight, and then as long as you don't touch it, it typically doesn't go anywhere. Whereas like with wood glues, I have to use clamps and little clips to hold the pieces still I don't like using the accelerator if if I need a little bit of tack time. Because I like to have a little bit of tack time to where I've got just a few seconds to get it exactly where it needs to be. Yeah. And I don't have any luck with activator doing that.
And not all brands share the same viscosities when you're saying thin, medium, thick. I've had some mediums from some companies that I was like, this is a thin glue. It's runny. It and then, some mediums that are super thick. So you want one that doesn't run, but it isn't a gel per se. So,
yeah. Now I've seen a lot of people as far as like you don't get any set time, but I've seen a lot of people that like that peel and stick, like the adhesive film that you put on the back of your material, and then when you cut it, you can just peel it and stick it. I don't know how I feel about that because I'm bad to like not initially get it lined up right, and that seems like if you did that, you're done. Like you just ruined your ornament.
Well, if you're doing a lot of those things, whether you're using glue or that, I mean, if you're going to be making 50 of the same ornaments, create yourself an alignment jig that you can drop your piece in, put that jig down, drop the thing in, and it gets it locked in. Just make sure you don't glue your piece to the jig.
Yeah. Maybe make yourself a silicone jig. I'm not seeing. I see firefighters talking about something.
Norbert's asking how many of us are still running the X-Tool D1. I still have mine. I still have mine in my original enclosure. Well, I don't have my original 10 watt. I did give that one away to a friend, but I have my 20 watt. And I've been tempted to drag that out and fire it up for something one of these days.
Mine is in here solely for nostalgic purposes. It's got like its own little plaque that's like the original X-Tool D1 that I purchased. It's hanging on the wall. It still works, but I've got too many faster, more powerful machines to sitting around that I could use if I needed to use it. So the Acemer 33 watt up there is probably the closest thing to that D1 that I've got that I still have is the Acemer 33 watt, and I've got the Algo Laser Alpha MK2 on the wall right there. Either one of those will outperform that 10 watt D1 hands down.
Yeah, I've got the Algo. I don't remember which model it is. It was one of the first. It's the Alpha. I just don't know if it's the MK1 or 2. I have to look at it again. Real nice laser, but then they kind of came out with the Delta and they jumped around with their DIY one, and it feels like this year they've really focused on their what is that Pixie, that enclosed
that
one?
Little mini machine. Yeah.
But definitely, nice high speed as far as the white space and everything on that one. So
yeah, the controller and the movement on that thing is quick.
Yep. Here's your buddy Klondike. You got to chat with him yesterday on
I jumped in there with
3DHP Jerry's show. Yeah. One of these days, I kind of like you. I tend to be busy working on projects and it's loud, so I usually have it on in the background. But maybe one of these days I'll do something quieter.
I guess they just got lucky, and I wasn't doing anything on the CNCs, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be sitting here for a few minutes just playing around. I had these bricks I wanted to do, but I was like, I could just literally play around with those and hang out with them. So I did that for a little while. It was pretty fun. Like I said, it's now that I'm home all the time, I have more time to do stuff like that because I'm always in the shop every day now, almost.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I'm getting caught up. So if I missed your question, go ahead and drop that again. I guess we're further than halfway through, but we do have a Facebook group. For those who don't know, we have our laser engraver community where we talk about a little bit more than just lasers out there, but that kind of came out of this show. And we got links to our viewer map, which I need to run the update on that as well. You can drop down that down there. but yeah, there's and then also, you know, each of our channels. If you're new to one or the other, definitely go check out David if you're from my channel, or come check out my channel as well. And yeah, see what's all there. More details to come, but coming up in what 7 weeks?
It's not long.
Not long. The last Sunday before Christmas, whenever that one lands,
be the 21st this year.
21st of December, is going to be our kind of Christmas holiday giveaway live stream. We're working with a number of the places that we have partnered with over the years to get them to provide some cool prizes we get to give you all. So,
yeah, and so far we've got some pretty cool ones.
It's going to be a live giveaway, so unfortunately you do have to be here to get your name in for each of them. We're going to try to move through them as quickly as we can, but we want to give some time for everybody to get entered on each one. And so we'll be releasing some details about that soon as we kind of solidify what some of these are going to be. A heads up, we may have to start it a little bit earlier. Just last year we felt really rushed.
Yeah.
And so we, depending on the prizes, we want to make sure each drawing gets its time. Each sponsor gets a little bit of time on our hands to talk about, you know, some of the things we've done with them and whatnot. So definitely want to thank them for supporting this, but it'll be exciting to be able to give all that back to all of you. And also, we don't push this a whole lot, but we have channel memberships on both of our sites. We appreciate those that want to put in the extra, what is about $3 a month we have ours set at. And I know both Clack and I have been doing some small things there to give back to those through some file sharing, some discount coupons and such. Never want you to feel like you have to spend money on us or our content, but if you want to support us a little bit more, that definitely does help out, and we appreciate that as well. So if you are a member, thank you, and be sure to be checking those posts and those videos for that information. And if not, like I say, never want to feel anyone's going to miss out on anything of that, but we just try to have some fun, sometimes some extra live streams just to chat with members and things like that. So check out those options as well.
Yeah, and it's been very fun. Melissa's asking, looking at getting another conveyor from my S1 since my brand new one in the box got accidentally sent out for recycling. And then I saw down in the bottom down here, she's like, wonder what y'all think it's worth getting another one. Me personally, I don't use those. I never have. X-Tools offered them to me and I don't take them. The only one that they sent me was the little grocery store conveyor system for the F1 Ultra. And I wasn't crazy about it because, I mean, there was no way to secure your materials to it. So I'm not really a fan of those things. So anything I would say would probably be very biased, because my thing is if you're doing stuff that big, it's a lot of times it's better to just get a bigger machine, in my opinion, or limit your products. So I know you've got one coming up, but you're kind of like me too. What's your thought?
Yeah, we'll see. So I have one. They sent one with the P3, and it's a little bit different than the one from the P2. I don't have any experience with the one for the the S1 series. The one for the P3 looks to be a little easier to put on and take off because most of it sits within the laser, and then you open up a couple doors, put on a couple of brackets front and back, and they seem to be a pretty quick swap between the two. My concern with it will be, of course, the space it takes up, and if I can still do proper air extraction. Because with that, you're going to have the space in front and behind the laser, and now you got to be possibly a little bit further away from where your air is. But I am kind of curious about how this one works compared to the others. My concern on some of them has just been if it doesn't feed properly, and I've had this happen before on some things where there are rollers and whatnot. If it can't grab that material and feed properly, it's a disaster waiting to happen. And you got to remember, if you're cutting out on these, you do have to add tabs, which XCS will do.
But then you got to deal with them.
but, so it's a balance. I much prefer having the work area in the laser whenever possible, or the sling bed styles. Those seem to be better because you're actually clamping the material to the bed and the whole thing's moving. It's just making sure that you have consistent feed, in and out, that it doesn't lose grip, and it's basically like losing steps on your stepper at that point. So,
yeah, and anytime you open up that enclosure like that, especially that big of an area, you're gonna cause issues with your exhaust because you're gonna lose that negative pressure inside the enclosure, and so when you add those things to it, now you're opening up so much air inlet that it's a lot easier for the smoke and stuff to get into your room rather than go out the way it's supposed to, because you don't have that negative pressure inside it. It's like, was it Tyvok reached out to me and want me to take that 100-watt CO2 machine that they have that looks like a CNC, like a open CNC like that, but it's got the tube and everything on the gantry. And that was my thing, was there's no way when you're cutting, there's no way that exhaust is going to work the way that they think it's going to work.
Yeah.
Because it's got to suck the smoke back up through the cut in order to expel it. And so it's just going to be smoking up the place. So I just, those are things that, I get, we want to try to innovate, but sometimes you got to use a little common sense on these things. You start open air in these lasers, you're going to get a lot of smoke and stuff back in your shop. So Firefighter 3B said he's about 3 hours north of me and retired for 5.5 years. Mm-hmm. I was trying not to use the retired word because there was a bet going on before the live that we would mention being retired. But there you go. Whoever had the bet.
Yeah, I've been threatening them at work with that, but they're kind of empty threats considering it's still in double digits number of years. So they're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I got my first.
I tell them, I'm like, one of these days, I'm going to retire.
I'm official. I got my first check on the 31st. So, Brad, yes, I'm thinking there's a really good possibility that I may have one. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but there's a really good chance that I may have a 120-watt water-cooled laser that is going to be 500 millimeters deep and 850 millimeters wide. I think there's a really good chance of that.
Yeah. So I mentioned that to Ikier as well.
Because I have this. Yeah.
that feedback about it, just, people would love if it was like half as deep. And I actually had Laser Tree reach out to me recently, and they have a 60-watt, 1,000 by 1,500.
Yeah.
Which I just straight up told them, like, it's too big. I don't have a place to set that up as an open frame laser. And so I told them, like, you need to make one that's 500 deep and 1,000 wide, which then they shot back and said, well, we have this one that's 800 by 600. I'm like, no. So, they have one that's closer, but for me, it's just, I need for a diode laser like that, I need it to be wide, but not so deep that I can't put it up against the wall and reach the back side of it.
So what I have considered doing, and I haven't made up my mind. I wish I could just get Adam Stack to send me rails so that I didn't have to make a decision to basically render one of my machines useless. And I may try that. But what I've considered doing is the Adam Stack A70 and the Glacier use the same frame. These side rails and these belts right here off of this A70 will fit the Glacier. And this is a 500 millimeter deep machine. So I could, in theory, take these side rails off of this one and put them on the Glacier and end up with a 500 by 850 machine. The only downside is going to be I'm going to have a little extra cabling from the controller and everything. But inside Enclosure Zilla, I could deal with that because I've got a substructure underneath it that I could kind of just make a working loop under there. The good news is I wouldn't have to worry about having cables that were too short. But yeah, I've considered doing that. Option 2 is that I replace my little assembly table right here, build me a new table, but instead of just a table, I raise it up a little bit, and the top 12 inches of it is actually going to be a laser enclosure for the glacier. And then on the sides right here and on the other side, I'm going to take the plywood panels and CNC them and CNC me some windows in there, add some laser safe glass so that my table is going to be a laser enclosure technically, and just put some gas struts on the lid so that it raises up. I can do what I need to do and then close it back down and latch it or whatever, and maybe add a camera inside for observation along with the 2 windows that I have. And that would allow me to keep the 120 watt machine in its 850 by 850 configuration, which I have used it a couple of times since it's been here. I've used it a couple of times. I've used the Asmer X1 a couple of times, but it's just not that often. And so that's my dilemma. They're too big to be practical in my shop space. Now, if I had a bigger space, whatever, but I don't have the space for it.
Yeah, that is kind of the issue with those. And even my Ikier contact mentioned that one of his friends or colleagues had built like a whole lift setup to get the laser out of the way when they're not using it. So, but we'll see.
Mark said something about he's got a D1 Pro, including a MW module for anyone who might need one for a spare. So get with Mark if you're looking for a D1 Pro.
Very cool.
Oh, somebody asking you a question.
Yeah, so a friend of mine's working on that, and he's actually got the laser now to see about mounting and making sure that can actually get it in a secure fashion that it can rotate and then come back and be stable and all that such. So kind of letting him work that engineering out, and we'll see. Hopefully I hear from him soon that it works well as opposed to not. But I'll be sure to whenever we've got that running. And he's also working a downdraft table into that as well. So kind of a cool setup. So whenever he's got that kind of up and running, I'll be sure to at least do. I don't know that I'll do like here's how to build the thing, but here's how it was built and here's how it functioned kind of video and show it as an option. So
the Mark's saying it's the 1064, the IR module. So there you go. What?
Where was it? Yeah, Melissa had to run.
Good night there, Melissa. Have a good one.
Gerald Grady is asking, is there anything you can mix with CA glue to make it black for a black acrylic besides blind black CA glue? You can get like the epoxy dyes that I used on this this pumpkin one. They're just kind of like a liquid dye, and it will mix with a variety of things. Now the caveat is it may affect the curing time. You can try like a powder-based pigment as well, but again, that may mess things up. So usually a liquid dye is going to work best. And so this one, they've got some darker colors, blacks and browns and such that you could crack open the bottle and put a few drops in there and get it to the color you might want. But just know that still when that polymerization happens, the crystallization happens, it's still going to kind of off gas, and those vapors can get on darker color things. So yes, it will fill it in, but if it's too heavy and it cures too fast, that's when you get more of that fuming, and moisture is also something that does help cure CA glue. So it's a balance. You're probably going to want to do a little testing with it, but you can definitely dye it.
Yep. Firefighter 3B says, I wish companies would get away from belt drives, go to a metal geared rail and sprocket on drives. No more adjusting belts. On CNCs, I can see that being a thing, but on these lasers, that would be noisy. I think the belts is probably a quieter alternative for these lasers and stuff that we running. Because I don't generally have to go back and readjust belts on my machines. Like this X40, I've been running it now for like a year, and I run the dog crap out of it, and I haven't had to adjust the belts yet. If you get them tuned like they need to be, I don't see that being a big problem. If you over tighten them or under tighten them, then yeah, you're gonna have to go back and adjust them. But I think as long as you get the tension right the first time, I haven't seen any big issues. I mean, have you? I mean, because I don't think you've got a machine that's got as many hours, because this thing right here's got hours on it at this point with those stove covers. Because you figure 10 stove covers every 2 weeks for the past year, that's a lot of time on a machine.
Yeah, no, I would say the temperature swings may have a bit of an effect on things, but not so much that I find myself really having to adjust those. Really only if it gets really cold in here, maybe. But no, I mean, the other thing too is that the belt drive versus the screw or the whatnot, it's faster acceleration, and on lasers that's huge. On CNC routers and such, not such a big thing. You want it to be able to get that, be able to come to a stop and reaccelerate faster. Otherwise, you're going to have a much wider, to get it up to speed and then slow it down, stop it, and turn it around. You're going to have a bigger overscanning otherwise, and it's just going to increase the speed. So.
Yeah, and like I said, those metal gears trying to go as fast as some of these lasers go, they're going to be so noisy. And not only that, but you're going to have to make sure you lubricate those gears regularly, or it's going to chew them up like really bad, and they're going to wear. And I don't know that application. I don't know that that's better than the belts. Like I said, for lasers. For CNCs, I can see it being a good option. I think, CNC Labs just went to their new...
It's like a rack and pinion, right?
Yeah, they're using a rack and pinion setup, which is similar to what he's talking about. So I think for that, when you need high torque and low speed, then I think, yeah, that's a good alternative. But I don't know with the speeds that these machines run, and like you talking about the abrupt movements, because a belt does have a certain level of shock absorbing properties as well when it does that sudden reverse. I mean, you don't have that storm like just a solid metal on metal, pitch. So I like the belts with the lasers. I do not like belts on a CNC though. If it's anything that requires torque, I would rather we go with either ball screws, lead screws, or even the teeth like that. The rack and pinion.
Yeah, I mean, so I've run a couple of belt-driven CNC machines, and you got to remember there are different types of belts. I mean, you can get steel-infused, steel-belted belts that they don't stretch like the other ones do.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to be moving them as fast as you are on a laser. So yeah, it's definitely the ball screws are nice on CNCs. You get the torque, you get the holding power. But yeah, you do sacrifice some acceleration and some top end speed out of it.
Oil Lamp is asking, does LightBurn have the capability to adjust the Z-axis down for multiple cuts and keep the laser in focus as it cuts through thicker materials? And the answer is yes, it does. And the way that you would go about doing that is in LightBurn, there is a setting, and let me see here. When you go into your layer, there is a setting I don't, wait a minute, I'm about to go to a machine that has a Z-axis. Let's see, which one's that? That's the X40. Hang on. You've got to go to a machine that has a Z-axis enabled, of course. So I'm going to go to my A70 Pro, and then I'm going to double click on that one. And so you can go, like, if you go multiple passes here, then you can do Z steps per pass here. So like I could, do like -1 for every pass. And so now it's going to do 4 passes. Every pass is going to drop down 1 millimeter.
I don't think you want the minus on it though.
Oh, yeah, never mind. That's out. I'm used to my OhmTech, because my OhmTech's like is reversed. The OhmTech, if you don't put the minus, it's for some reason it's reversed, and I've tried to reverse it in the software and it's still reversed. Like if I put minus, it goes down. If I put positive, it goes up. So yeah, that's gonna take Z passes in on everything but an OhmTech Polar Plus, because that actually should be out. But that's where you change that at. It's right there. Get rid of that just in case. I've been left that on and had a problem. But you got to make sure all lamp, if your machine, make sure when you set your machine up, you're going to go to laser tools, device settings. I don't know why they moved that, but whatever. You're going to need to go over here and make sure that, where's it at? They've moved so much stuff around. Hold on. There it is. All right. Right here where it says dimensions and units, which I don't understand why Z control is under dimensions and units, but whatever. So right here where it says Z control, you're going to have to make sure your Z axis is enabled. If you disable the Z axis, when you go in here, you're not going to have those options. So you got to make sure whatever machine that you're going to be doing this on, you got to make sure that in here, your Z axis is enabled. And if you hit that reverse Z direction on my Polar, it still does not help the issue in here. But yeah, so that's what you got to do. But you got to make sure you've got a machine that has an addressable Z. See, like there's my OhmTech Polar. I can go in here and it has the same thing. But it's a little different with the OhmTech Polar because I've got it like there is no like. See how the other one had what did it say? Reverse Z axis. This one does not. It has that OhmTech Polar switch right there. They took away the button. So yeah. But once you learn that up is down and down is up, all is well.
Yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah, it just irritates me sometimes when they move things around like that. Why do we have the Z-axis control under units? It makes no sense to me. We could have just added another tab for the Z-axis. I mean, that would have been fine. It's not like extra tabs cost money.
I'm sure some group of people had a few meetings and a committee formed to
decide to hide it on the units page. Hey, let's put it right there. It'll be the last place they'll look.
The number of times I'm sitting in meetings at work and there's a committee of highly educated people wordsmithing an email for the better parts of 45 minutes drives me nuts. Yeah. And at the end of it, I go, I still have no idea what you all are trying to say. So
yeah. Yes, sir. I get it.
But anyhow.
Mm-hmm. So what else we got? Anybody got any questions, comments, concerns? We got about 10 more minutes and we got to get some sleep. I got to get some sleep, especially because this time change done got me, guys. It's got me. Got me good.
Yeah.
And I actually do have to get up in the morning. I got somewhere I got to be. So dang it.
Yeah, I have to get up in the morning and go to work.
Well, I don't got to go to work. Well, technically, I do got to go to my old job, I guess. And technically, I'm supposed to be getting put back as a part-time employee. So I guess technically I am going to work. Technically speaking. All right.
Yeah.
You want to read that one? I got a little touch of heartburn, and I am all out of Tums.
007 Kev Hill is asking, I'm using an X-Tool D1 Pro 40 watt, trying to cut through 1/2-inch poplar. It just wants to turn it into a fireplace. Is it me or is the wood just wrong for the machine?
Half inch is really thick for a 40 watt.
I mean, it's pushing it. You're definitely going to need to do multiple passes on it, and you're going to want to make sure you're running air assist on it. But doable, but not fast. And yeah, and that's the problem where if you're trying to go too slow to get it done in one pass, you're going to get a lot of charring. And that's where I try to have multiple passes to keep it moving, and not linger in one spot, which is what helps create that charring. It's been a while since I've done the 40 watt cut. I mean, 1/2-inch poplar I've done with the 70. I'm trying to think back.
You're going to need to offset the Z down into the material as much as you can. I know the X tool didn't have much room, especially if you still got the shroud on it, but you're going to have to drop that Z.
I'm trying to think. On the 70 watt, I think I was running 6 millimeters a second and 3 passes. So you're probably going to be almost doubling that. And yeah, try to set your focal point down to the midpoint of the material, but that's going to be awfully close to the nozzle.
I don't got any 1/2 inch. I don't have any 1/2-inch poplar. I thought I did. I don't.
Monk's asking, is the Bamboo H2D just a bigger version of the P1S? That's one of the biggest features of it. You know, you got a bigger, the P1S is a 256 by 256 bed, and the H2D is like 320 by 350 or something like that. And then the H2D has the option for, I think it's got the dual heads, right? So you can do multicolor with two. You could do 2 colors without having it swap and do the tower and the purging and such. So yeah, the biggest feature over it, much bigger working area. Other than that, I'm not sure of. I haven't looked too deeply into it because for me, I was better with the price point of the P1S and not worrying about the bigger build volume. But if you absolutely have to have that build volume, yeah, that would be the Bamboo way to go. Otherwise, there are other printers out there with bigger build volumes as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. That thing's a little out of my price of what I want to spend for a printer right now. So the P1S is kind of like, if I were going to get one, that's where I would land.
Jeffrey Stone's asking, have either of you used the wood PLA for 3D printers? I've played around with it a little bit. You definitely want to swap out to the hardened steel nozzles when doing that because it is abrasive and that will wear down the brass, the lighter weight nozzles pretty quickly. So I would, and definitely I think that's one that's a little pickier about drying it beforehand, but it can have an interesting look. I mean, to me, it's not, it definitely looks 3D printed. Doesn't necessarily fool me that it's wood, but it definitely, if you have like a model or something that you need that kind of color and that look, it's going to be better than just your straight brown. But you definitely want to swap out that nozzle. Scott says the H2D has active chamber heating. Yeah, that was one of the other options on that 3D printer as well.
That's 3/4 inch poplar, 6 millimeters a second. Oh, I got to turn some exhaust on. 6 millimeters a second with a 10 millimeter drop in Z. And I forgot to turn the exhaust on for that. So it's going to have to take a second to clear it out in there. That's the Adam Stack A70, the lightsaber. See if I made it through it in one pass. Nope, not quite. Not exactly. Boop, boop. It takes like 2.
Yeah, Diamond State, I agree. I'm not sold on that dual head setup, especially since it reduces the bed size, the workable area of the bed size. And yeah, the H2S would be able to use it, and it's just a single one.
Go ahead and run it 3 on this one. That 10 millimeter drop takes a second before it sends the laser.
Sharon's saying, speaking of changes in LightBurn, I have to unhighlight then rehighlight in order to resize or move the selected items. Am I missing a setting as it never did that before? I'm on the newest version.
I think maybe what happening is that the cursor, it gets stuck in like creation mode for circles and squares now, and you have to manually move it back to the selector tool or whatever.
Chris says they're aware of it and working on it.
Oh, okay, maybe that's a different thing.
I kind of ran into that today, testing the F2 with the beta version of Studio. They had some weird pop-up that didn't register with me, and I'm like, why am I not able to click through this? Why is it not letting me do something? And every time you open a new feature, they want to show all the tips, and they bounce around the screen showing them, and I'm like, can you just stop?
Yeah, I finally updated mine, but I waited. I'm guessing that's all the way through, since it's not generating any smoke anymore. It's going to cut a hole in my honeycomb. That's the only thing about this machine you got to be careful with. You will cut your honeycomb slap in half. You'll see those little metal sparks flying off of it every now and then. Oh, yeah, it cut my... Yep, I cut the honeycomb pretty good. Let me get my camera out.
Where did this go?
Yeah. I shouldn't have went that many passes. I should have just done 2. That third pass was doing nothing but cutting honeycomb. But the good news is it's mostly, I mean, I got, it's mostly clean. But that's because I'm running shop air and I've got my air turned up, like tuned in the cut. So 2 passes would have done it. That third pass didn't do nothing but cut a hole in my honeycomb. So there's that. And I'll show you what my honeycomb look like. But yeah.
Rob's asking, when doing intricate cuts with a laser, is it best to turn constant power mode off? It seems on some projects the straight cuts come out perfect, but the smaller cuts are turned into charcoal.
I don't use it on diodes.
So depending on your laser, it may or may not be available to you. Certain ones it's blocked out. What LightBurn tries to do is, as it needs to slow down and make a turn or a corner, it will try to regulate the power with the speed to have more of a consistent cut. That can cause certain problems, more so in CO2 lasers, when maybe the controller and the firing of the laser, that can kind of set it to where it doesn't fire quick enough, or it doesn't have enough power to fire at those lower settings. And so that might be when you want to turn it on. I generally run it off, and you want to bump your speeds up. Here again, if you're getting too much charring, you might want to go add extra passes, go faster so it doesn't linger. When you get those real fine points and it has to come by one side and the other, if it's going too slow, that's where you get that extra burn from the beam sitting there too long. So I would add some speed to it and add a pass to try that first.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's what that's why you got to be careful not to run too much power right there with this thing. You can see right here, it cut it there, melted a pretty good little chunk out of it right there. Got a little chunk there, and it pretty much goes all the way around that entire cut because I ran it those extra passes that it didn't need. So yeah, that's the problem you get into when you get in these higher powered diodes, is it will melt that. I mean, and this is a steel honeycomb. It's not aluminum. That's a steel honeycomb. And it basically melts it. So the only downside with the more powerful machine.
It's also an argument to clean your honeycomb.
That one's actually cleaned. Been cleaned. I've zoomed way in. It's just a little dingy. That's all. So it's a little dingy. That's all.
Yeah, anyway.
See, it's got a little crust in the middle, but now it's a working.
A little?
That's a working man's honeycomb, man.
Black.
That's not really black. It's that's the angle you're looking at it from.
Like, well, there's a silver outline that looks clean, and then there's the black interior.
But that's from years of staining, dude. I mean,
yeah, well, that stuff attracts the laser. I mean, if it's clean and reflective, it's going to bounce.
You can't clean it
absorb
so much unless I get like some acid, like some show enough industrial acid. That ain't coming off.
Well, it is a consumable item. Maybe you need to, replace
yeah, I'm not arguing that. What I need to do is get me a blade bed for this one, like a heavier blade bed with something with a little more substantial metal. But
yep.
The 120 will really get them. You got to be careful with that thing. But yeah.
Well, we are just past 2 hours. Things have kind of slowed down, and you're tired. So,
yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, being retired makes you work a lot because you don't have anything else going on in your shop, and so I've been productive. Doing lots of stuff, trying to build the business, build the channel, all that good stuff. So if you ever, find yourself bored, nothing to do, feel free to watch some videos. I know me and Steve both appreciate the views, the support you guys give us. And, we try to bring you information and videos that are entertaining, educational, or otherwise okay to watch. But if you have any idea for content, be sure to let me know in the comments or whatever, because I'm always looking for something to kind of mix up, because I don't want to be, I'm not making these videos for me. And that's one thing I think a lot of times people forget when they're doing YouTube is they start making content for themselves, not for the people that watch their content. And you can tell over time. And I don't want to be making content for me. I want to be making content that benefits you guys when I can. And just kind of at least mix it in. Because some of the stuff that I do to try to like the OhmTech Polar video that I did earlier, where I added the red dot to my OhmTech Polar. That video is not going to get a lot of views, but the guys that have an OhmTech Polar and really wish they had a red dot laser for it, they're going to like that video. And so a lot of times videos that we make, we expect them not to have a very big, very broad audience. But yeah, so that's just one of those videos that it's helpful for somebody. If it helps 5 people, that's great. Because and the guy that makes the little red dot thing, I think that's a pretty cool that this guy's kind of like Steve. He does these things in his shop, and then he sells them on the internet. It's pretty cool. So even if you don't have an OhmTech Polar, go check it out.
Yeah. One of the biggest ways to help us out is just to watch the videos, drop any comment on there, cool. Thanks for sharing, whatever, all that stuff does help YouTube say, hey, this is a good video. We should show it to more people. So Always appreciate that. All those interactions go just to make our channels and our videos more successful, which helps us, keep doing what we're doing. So appreciate all that. And yeah, I've had more than one video come as a comment or a question, whether it be here or on other videos. So definitely appreciate that feedback, because obviously that's something you want to see. And if we can, put a little explanation around it and help you, maybe it's going to help others. So always appreciate that. So definitely more. I got a few machines in the shop I'm trying to get caught up on, and some projects coming with the holiday season, some fun stuff. So going to try to keep mixing it up and throwing those out there. And only other thing I would have to say is if any of you are Detroit Lions fans, I'm sorry. It was a good day.
Yeah, you gotta enjoy those while they come, right?
Yes. As a Minnesota sports fan, yes, you enjoy those when they come.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like I said, this week, hopefully I'm gonna try to get one more. I'm gonna try one more time. I'm about to try it out, but I'm gonna try one more time to design a very conservative file for the Atom Stack C4. I'm gonna check and make sure don't have grounding issues or whatever. And I'm gonna try to do one more project video with it and get a kind of a final thoughts video together on it before I put it away. And then I'm gonna go back and start working on the F2 this week. Hopefully, the deadline or the release date is supposed to be the 5th. And my contact after the other day, when a couple of the creators just went ahead and did their full blown review right out of the gate. I emailed him and he said that if I wanted to release it whenever I could, but I told him that I had kind of agreed to the timeline. So I'm going to stick to my agreement. And so around the 5th, you'll see my full review of the machine coming out. I've been getting some B-roll. I've been doing some tests with it. I've been burning some stuff. You've seen a couple of my shorts and so forth where I've been testing it. I know Steve's been testing his, but the review itself will be out 4th or 5th. I mean, I may go ahead and do it the 4th since, I got the green light from them, but it definitely will be out by the 5th, hopefully, the preliminary. And by preliminary, I mean, I tested it quite a bit because I wanted to play with it. I am looking at replacing the F1 for my event machine. I'm thinking I may swap them out and put this guy in the trailer and keep the F1 to, I've got a family member that also wants to try laser in this limited with space. And so I've thought about, maybe pushing that over that way. So we'll see. But so far it's a decent machine. So.
All right. Yeah. I'm going to try to get my initial stuff out right around that time too. They dragged their feet on getting mine to me. So I'm playing catch up. But yeah, we'll get some stuff going on that so that we can do more detailed project things with them and such.
Yeah, and Christmas videos are coming. Why did it keep moving that? So y'all get ready for the Christmas stuff, and hopefully it'll be here before you know it. But anyway, that's all I got.
All right.
Good night, guys. See you.
We'll see y'all next week.